Hello there. Been a while. Welcome everybody, both new viewers and old viewers, I guess, to a bit of a throwback for me, a spoilers stream. Pretty cool. It's been a while since I've done one of these, and this time it's for the new core set that's coming out just at the end of this week, or soon at least, which is going to be really awesome. And today I've gotten a lot of spoilers to go through because I got the set numbers for these cards, and some of them are in the 200s, so there's a lot of cards in this new set, which is pretty cool. I think we'll just get into it. We have 8 cards, so we're gonna be here for a while. So strap in, if you have something to drink. I forgot to, but we'll make do. And let's start looking at these bad boys and girls and theys. First up is a conflict card from the Crab Clan. A great start already. It's Way of the Crab. No, sorry. It's Armor of the Fallen. It's a 1 fate attachment with +1/+1. It's an armor, restricted, thank God. Ban these. There we go. I think that deleted it. Yep. Cool. Yeah, so it's restricted. Good already. Good. Perfect core design. Perfect core. We don't need anything else. It's Bushi as well, only. And the 3 is attached character gains conflict action. Remove 1 or more characters in your discard pile from the game in your discard piles. Yeah, 2 discard piles. Choose a participating character with cost equal to or lower than the number of removed cards about that character. 2 influence, conflict. So this card is interesting because bowing, of course, is very powerful and it gives stats as well. But my mind obviously first went to Kyuden with this because Kyuden is, mulching or milling or whatever term you want to use themselves. And this is sort of a payoff for this. And it's attached to the character, so it can only be used while participating. It can be used both politically and militarily, so this can be used for Crab to maybe get an extra edge on those political conflicts. I'm not sure if this is sort of indicative of the direction they're going with Crab. I haven't seen any of the other cards, but graveyard strategies are always popular in card games, so if there is one for Crab, then that's definitely a win for some. So just as a caveat, if you haven't watched my streams before, or if you don't remember, I have a sort of unicorn perspective on most things. I will mostly be talking about these cards from a unicorn perspective, since that's what I mainly been playing. These, what is it, 7 years now? God, time flies. Almost fallen. So on a scale of 1 to 5, I'd rate this at a solid 4, I think. It seems like a powerful card. It has some noticeable restrictions that you need to account for, but it also has a quite a powerful effect. And for Unicorn, this could be very much a splashable card, I think, for some classic Cavalry Serve style decks. Since I'm fairly sure that Shinyu Gunso, for example, isn't rotating since that was in Dominion Cycle, if I remember correctly. So that could be a perfect match here. So you just remove from game all the characters you don't want and then Cavalry Service in the rest. So this could be definitely a card to look out for Unicorn. Alright, next up is for Crane, I think. Yeah, it is Kakita Blade, 2. So some of these cards are reworked or reimagined versions of older cards that didn't see that much play, and takes another spin on it. And this is the first one we see here. And this is a 1 fate attachment with +2/+1. Really solid stats there. It's a weapon, of course, and it's restricted. Nice, I like that. Off to a good start here. If attached character is Bushi, it gains reaction. After conflict begins, if this character is participating, take an additional action as the first action opportunity in this conflict. 3 influence. So, while I do miss the old Kikita Blade from my specific Honor dueling deck that actually had some teeth, I think this card is quite interesting. There have been rumors of dueling getting a change. We haven't seen in what way yet, but I imagine getting the first opportunity to get those challenges in could be very strong. And it definitely feels like a Crane card in some way. Getting that first strike. While striking fast is, to me, a very unicorn thing, striking first in a duel and striking decisively seems very Crane. Very interesting to have so powerful stats on this thing. By the way, is the chat working? There we go. Yeah, 2 for 1. Hey, Medalia. Yeah, just the stats alone is very nice. And a lot of the time, getting the first action might not matter, since this is, if you compare it to, for example, Child of the Plains, where you get the first action opportunity if you reveal a province. But this is an additional action, so you get 2, which means that you could do stuff like hold your way up the crane. If way up the crane is still a thing, I don't know, but for example, do a buff card that the opponent doesn't expect and then smash a duel on defense. Or, put some pressure on the opponent to pre-play stuff if you attach this before the conflict, which this is important. This can be quite telegraphed with the ability, since you want to attach it before attacking with the character or defending with the character. So your opponent knows that this will come up, so you will get to see sort of that interesting pre-play pattern that you sometimes see with, for example, Tetsuko. Me trying to put Tetsuko in a positive light. Yeah. I was thinking if the chat would pop up here, but it doesn't look like it will. Oh well. I'll just read the chat on my side here, that's fine. But yeah, Kikita Blade, very strong stats for a 1-cost attachment, with a sometimes powerful ability and sometimes it's meh. But yeah, gonna be interesting to see what Crane can do with their new dueling tools, which hopefully we'll see soon. Then we can definitely evaluate this card better. But for Unicorn, striking first, that's lovely. I like this card. If it wasn't for the 3 influence, I'd be looking at splashing this for sure. Maybe in some sort of thing where you really need to get that first action all the time. This could be strong. You could do some like send home shenanigans and then put in powerful events. Yeah, could be interesting. Theme on card is so on point, yeah, for sure. Really like this card from a thematic standpoint. Next up is Dragon with Greater Understanding #2. It's a unique attachment with 3 fate cost +0/+0, and it attaches to a ring. This attachment cannot be chosen as a target of an opponent's ability, so it's protected from disarm and let go if let go is still a thing, and stuff like that. Attachment removal. Reaction: after a fate is placed on attached ring. Usually it died. There. After fate is placed on attached ring, resolve that ring's effect. Then your opponent moves this attachment to another ring without fate on it, and that is 1, 2, 3, 4 influence. So just as a reminder, the old Greater Understanding was a 4-cost attachment, that wasn't unique, I think. Yeah, it wasn't unique at first. You could have more than one. That attached to a ring, and when there was a fate placed on the attached ring, you just resolve the effect. This has the additional buffs of being one fate lower and being protected, and then it has the, I don't know, side grade, or I guess most of the time probably a debuff of the opponent getting to choose where to move this, which probably is to a worse ring. Probably if you're not on an honor deck or dishonor deck, the air ring is probably where it gets moved by to the for the opponent. So I guess this could see some play. In an honor or dishonor style deck, this could definitely be seen as triggering every time, but in a non-honor deck and against not dishonor, I guess, this firing on the air ring every second time, nah. It's definitely in that category of cards that can be very powerful in a specific type of weird dragon deck that we've seen. We've seen stuff like the what's the void attachment, that when you bow a character you get to place all the fate from a ring on that character with like the bell. Don't notice that I've been away from the game too long. We're getting all the names. And Great Understanding, the old one, was used in some of these janky honor decks for some extra value. But that 4 fate and being able to just get let go, it definitely was a bit on the iffy side. But at 3 cost, could definitely see this seeing some either as a one-off or in a very specific targeted deck, some decent play. Being unique is quite the cost, since you can't spam it, which is probably for the best, since it's protected all the time. But getting this out of turn 1, you know, taking a loss on the 3 fate could be quite a good investment for the whole game. It's also a good way to get your opponent to attack a specific ring, since it only triggers on fate getting placed on it. So a way to do it is to put this on a ring before an attack, and then that makes it so that the opponent really wants that ring, which could be used for stuff like, okay, this is Jank Brain coming up here, but with mantras, of course, and the like, and other stuff that where the dragon wants you to attack a certain ring by gaining the fate of the ring, and so on and so forth. So yeah, interesting card. Next up is Lion. Next up is Phoenix. No, I'm just kidding. We'll get through the Lion card real quick here. So, 1 fate event. Amatsu proves their worth. A quest? We haven't seen that many quests. I know there's at least one. Let me know in the comment section below. No, I'm just kidding. So it's a quest, and it is fire roll only. So this is the first roll locked card we've seen so far, out of these spoilers at least. It has reaction. After a Bushi character you control attacks alone, that character wins this conflict. Honor it, place 1 fate on it, gain 1 honor, and draw 1 card. Otherwise, discard it from play. Max 1 per conflict. Hey Nitoshi, Chasing the Sun is quest, thank you! I knew there was a card that was a quest. Which makes sense that Chasing the Sun is a quest, and it's quite a futile quest in my opinion to try to chase the sun, but I guess in a metaphorical way it works. Alright, so it's 2 influence. This is very interesting. It definitely feels like a Lion card as well. So regardless of power levels, these cards so far have been flavor-wise very on point, I think. because this reads to me like lion, what's the word? Arrogance. From a unicorn perspective. Arrogance is the word I'm going to use here. You play this and you say, I'm going to win this conflict. Try to stop me. Because you don't play this if you're unsure you're going to win this conflict. Because lions don't know, lions are never unsure if they're going to win the conflict. They always know that they're going to win the conflict. Or with Kunekoma, that they know they're going to lose the conflict. Because they're arrogant and they always know best. This is me role playing, don't take it too harsh. But yeah, you play this when you're pretty sure you're gonna win the conflict, either by using buffs or protection, or if your opponent doesn't have any defense left. That's a good point, that if it gets sent home it dies, because it reads if that character wins this conflict. So that's quite funny. Obsidian Caves OP. Yeah, so it's definitely a powerful effect, and the honoring bonus there might not always be relevant, since lion characters tend to be honored where they win the conflict, but sometimes if you get like an unopposed, it could be useful for as a poke thing. Want conflict as well, of course, because otherwise it would be quite silly. But yeah, really interesting gambit. Yeah, Legion of One is a card that comes to mind, and I think they have another one that's when you attack alone. Another card that matters. I mean, you can also use it with Even the Odds. Even the Odds is another nice combo where you attack with the character alone, and then you move in another character with Even the Odds, and or move the ground if that's still a card, or other movement cards like one would see later. So there's definitely ways around this attacks alone clause. So yeah, pretty cool effect, pretty strong effect if you can get it through, since it replaces itself and gives you an honor and also honors the character, but comes with quite a risk, because you also want to use this on a quite heavily invested character, and if it fails, Lion's Pride falls. The lion falls with their pride, something like that. So if I would rate this on a scale of 1 to 5, I'd rate it a 0 because it's lion card. Alright, let's move on to the orange people. Wings of the Phoenix. This is a 0 cost event, and it is spell and fire, so we're getting some more fire bonuses here for that Mimi fire deck with Katana of Fire, which is nice. Lots of fire, fire, fire. Conflict actions can only be used during a conflict if you control a Shugenya character. Makes sense. Choose a character you control. Move it to the conflict. With fire affinity. So for those that don't know, fire affinity means that if you have a character, yes, only character, with the trait fire. So for example, you have a fire Shugenya, or you have a fire spirit, or stuff like that. Or is it card as well? Siri, if you're still in chat, can you confirm if it's card or character for the affinity? I think it's only character, right? Anyways, if you have fire affinity, each character on the enemy side gets -1 military for this conflict. Thank you, Mitulia. So this ties in with, well, he's probably rotating, but the fire character that bows and oh, he kills something with 2 cost less. Never mind. But man, interesting spell. I'm imagining someone flying up on fire wings, like a jetpack or something, and then doing some fancy, scary shenanigans with the fire to get everyone to weaken. Strong versus Swarm, and I know Siri has. I was gonna say affinity for getting the game to be wider. At least that's been my read on it. So if that's the case, it could be decently strong, but I'd more see that as a bonus usually. and use this more as a movement card that gives you maybe a +2 on the conflict balance or a conflict, because you would play this only if you have enough fire Shigenius. 2 influence, we can be splashable. I don't think we would see this splash that much, since the only other clan that usually has fire is Dragon. And do they need movies? Counters Kuni Labs, yeah. Do we know how much rotate? Is it only the core set, or is it the first? Oh, it's the first cycle as well, yeah. So Kuni Labs is fine so far. Yeah, this would be very strong with Kuni Labs and other swarm tactics, which is pretty nice. Not sure what to say about this card. It might see some play as a 1-off or 2-off. Move in is something you want. Either for... It's weird because Shugenias can usually use their effects at home. So it could be used as some sort of bait and switch, like unicorn cards or stuff like that. But yeah, maybe as a 1 or 2-off against some Sandhounds if we see that become very prevalent, or if Swarm goes insane and you need some way to stop it. Yeah, probably the weakest card we've seen so far, and not one that I am personally super interested in, either from a deck building or unicorn perspective. But fair enough. It probably has some really sick art. Wings of the Phoenix, I'd imagine. Next up are the Reds. And we got our first stronghold here, which is Thunderbolt Tower, or Scorpion. It is unique, of course. It has +1 Pollen Strength, and it has 10 Honor, 10 Influence, 7 Fate. Nothing out of the ordinary there. And it has action. Bow this stronghold. Choose a character at home. For this phase, that character gets -2/-2. That's a weird stronghold. It obviously is good for the classic kill package, you know, of Aramoro and what's it called? Dispatch? No, I played this card just a week ago. The Imperial card. They did something with the Castigated. Thank you. Yeah, so it really needs some thought behind the play pattern here, since you can only do it at home. So you either signal that this character might get hurt in some way, which could change the opposing player's play pattern, which is really nice. It goes along with the Scorpion, you know, keeping secrets and fainting and that sort of thing, which is really cool. It could also just mean that, hey, your one character this turn, for the first turn, this could be really strong, which says your character this turn might not get to attack, or you need to pump in more things to it. So definitely an interesting thing here. Strong first turn, especially against decks that only play a few characters the first turn, which is not Unicorn, usually. But yeah, I definitely need to see this in play to gauge what it can do. But it definitely feels like it's one of those things where it sort of depends on your own hand, and you can use it to bait and bluff a bit with it, which I like, definitely when I play. I'd see it more, yeah, as a way to control the way your opponent moves about the conflict than using the -2/-2 in itself for just the debuff. You use this to decide how your opponent commit their characters in what way. Because you can, let's say your opponent has a 4 strength character and a 2 strength character. I maybe use it on the 2 strength character to make that character pretty much useless. You could also use it on the 4 cost character to either signal that this character might get hurt, or that something about duels or strength comparisons. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of different choices you can make with this, even with just a simple ability as it is. It'll definitely be interesting to see what sort of skill matters cards Scorpion have, if they have any. Of course, Castigated is still there and Armoro is still there, so there's that at least. Showed you at least might rotate in this current shape. So yeah, interesting to see the first stronghold there. 10 honor, 10 influence. So it definitely relies on that -2/-2. Very interesting. Gonna be very cool to see what this card can do. Okay, just one last comment. It reminds me as well of, you know, Mountain Avel's Castle. Or is it the other one? The core dragon one, where you get +1/+1 or +2/+2 if you have 2 attachments. But this is in reverse and you get it immediately. Which is usually the case for minus effects, since minus effects tend to be worse than pump effects. So on a theoretical balance standpoint, just in a vacuum, which you would never do, since evaluating cards in a vacuum is always a terrible idea, in my opinion. I usually don't have so absolute opinions, but I tend to say that evaluating cards in a vacuum is generally just stupid, because cards are never in a vacuum. But in a vacuum, this is quite powerful, but not overly powerful. It's something to keep in mind, and feels right where a stronghold should be, in my opinion. Especially for a core stronghold. It's simple, but it has some nuance. Good job. Alright, next up is... We're saving the best for last, so we're gonna get the neutral card here. Next up is All Distances Are 1. It's a 1 fate neutral event. It has spell and water. So our first water spell here, which is nice for Unicorn, since that is one of our affinities. Conflict action. If you control a participating Shikini character and the conflict is at a non-stronghold province, move the contested ring to another eligible province and reveal it if able. Then, with the water affinity, you may flip face down the province you moved from. So I heard you guys like Talisman of the Sun. This is Talisman of the Sun on an event. Except with the obvious fix that you can't use it while on a stronghold province, which, yeah, it was a bit unfair. But I can admit that now when the card is rotating. I would never admit that Talisman of the Sun was unfair while it was in rotation. So this makes sure that you can control where your opponent attacks. It also ups the value of on-reveal provinces, which traditionally have been quite on the weaker side, while having strong effects like Rally of the Cause and Brush Fires. Rest in peace, Clippy Unicorn. That was 2 months of terror or whatever it was. With Water Affinity, you can flip down your on-reveal provinces, like Rally of the Cause, if that's a thing, or Brush Fires. So you can force your opponent to run into those again. Hey Shadow, yeah, the stream is definitely better with sound. We both have music and my voice, so they're not alike. At least you can see the cards. But you can't hear me talking about you. Never mind. So it moves around the provinces, which is a game I really like to play. Since it can really up the consistency of if you're playing a certain province that you really want your opponent to hit, like turn 1 for example, the classic endless plains, or if you want your opponent to run into a meditations of the tower for example, or another classic example is when your scorpion opponent is just poking you and farming that manicured garden. You can with this card force them into a nastier province. And then as well, you get to flip down province, so it's Seeker Fate as well, so this would see a lot more playing Seeker, which is also interesting, so the 1 cost would be mitigated in that way. You can often move to a province of your element to get the fate back. Now we do have quite a lot of water genius as well. Pretty much all the mantis, and of course the unicorn and phoenix of course, all are water genius. Any of the other clans have water genius. Dragon no, crane no, crab of course not. No, I think it's only unicorn and mantis. Yeah, Utah is mantis. So I imagine this sees the most play in unicorn and or phoenix with some province shenanigans. Lime is water, thank you. Of course. We have to steal some of our more stuff. So, what was I thinking? Yeah, Phoenix, this could see play with, not Kurimori, the other one that cares about glory. So, forcing your opponents into that Sampuku Seido, repeatedly could really ruin them with all that Sampuku Seido does. So yeah, interesting card, and a card I'd like to try out for sure with some province shenanigans. You know a card that is really good with this? Card that is the best 2-coster in Unicorn. A sort of foreign card with 2 military dash political, Gansu Warrior. You play this with Gansu Warrior of course, oh my god. This is perfect. The Unigenja with foreign cards is back. Oh yes. Oh, this is so good. So good with Gansu Warrior. Let's go. 10 out of 10 card. 10 out of 5. Alright. So we go through all these cards and they all seem alright. But there of course is one thing that's missing, and that is the best clan, the purple clan. Children of the Wind, the Kirin, the Unicorn. And the card that we're gonna see is, I haven't played it yet, I haven't play tested the core set, I've only read it, but this is, I think, one of my favorite cards in a long time. I really liked the boat, East Wind, before it was changed. I liked East Wind after the change, but there's not really anything that gets my mind going as much as this card that we're gonna see here. Drum roll. Yes, sun will rise again. It's a 0-cost event for Unicorn that reads, reaction. After you lose a conflict as an attacker by 4 skill or more, you may declare an additional conflict of the same type this phase. Max 1 per conflict, 3 influence cost. Well, how can a card that reads, after you lose a conflict, be so amazing? Well, ever since I started playing Unicorn in 2018, 5 years ago, or close to 6 years ago, I was always, I don't know if enamored is the right word, I don't know English too well to know if that's the right word, but interested is too low of a word. I was in love with the idea of the skirmishing tactics, you know, hit and run and poking and the maneuverability. And this beats to me like it has all that. Regardless of the power level of it, now obviously again another conflict, it is powerful. This reads that you poke. Long ago I invented or thought of a theory of how to play Unicorn, which was what I called pro-reactive, where you would first ask a question to your opponent, then get an answer, and depending on that answer was what you would do. So the first action didn't matter too much, and then you would react to what your opponent does. And this definitely feels like a card that plays into that type of gameplay. While pro-reactive is just a buzzword, in most cases it's the thought behind it that I find interesting. And this definitely fits that, in that you attack with a small character, see what happens, see if your opponent defends a lot, lose the conflict by 4 usually, and then you can keep your reserves back for another conflict, for another go at it. Or if your opponent doesn't defend, you move in the cavalry and you break the conflict, break the province unopposed. So it puts your opponent in a lose-lose situation, which is very interesting. Definitely could work with Cutie Coma and other loose type effects, like for example, the Death Seeker. Death Seeker is core though, so it might rotate. But other, jealousy type cards or Lion, which probably is the best way to play it, but hopefully we'll see some more movement support like this, so that the sun will rise again for Unicorn. This is a card that I'm very much excited to be playing with, and seeing the mind tricks you can do with it. Like, just the thought of just with Unicorn having these characters and the movement on the table and having it matter, like having all these cards on the table, both figuratively and literally, you know, showing your opponent, this is what I have, what you're gonna do about it. Asking them one simple question with one card, and having this as your only hidden trick, it puts such an interesting dimension on the game, I think. I mean, it could turn out to be super impressive as well, but oops. Is there some way to use this with I was thinking some way to win, but also some way to lose the conflict but also win it in some case. Like, is there another way to get some cheatsy stuff out of this, like breaking the province in some way? Well, there's Togashi, the disguised Togashi that breaks a province. So we go in, throw 10 cards at the conflict, break the province, move home, sunrise again, and then smash another province. I might build that deck when this comes out. Yeah, that sounds fun. Turbo Dragon. Yeah, another deck that I'd like to play. So yeah, that is 8 cards, 1 for each clan and a neutral one. And of course, this card is gonna see a lot of play from me. And they're coming out in about a week or so, which is really cool. And I'm excited to see what the players can do with all these tools. I'm excited to see how Thunderbolt Tower and Sunrise again will interact with each other. And other maybe Scorpion Poison archetypes. You could also be cheeky and use it with Kikita Blade, attach the Kikita Blade, move in, do some jank stuff, I don't know, boost your opponent's character, and then move home and lose the conflict, and then use Sunrise again to get the second conflict. I'm not fallen for them to combo there, but you definitely see a lot of avenues for the Sunrise again. It also gives for more aggressive styles that insurance. If you're not playing the movement tricksy type of Unicorn, if you're playing the more traditional aggro type of Unicorn, it's an insurance that you get another go at your preferred conflict. For HMT, of course, it's going to be military, but you could also play a janky quarter style deck where you get another go at political conflict. Or I could also see play patterns where you force your opponent to, if you play a more balanced style, which the movement deck generally is, of course, Unicorn is a bit tipped towards military, but in a more balanced type deck against a more skewed deck, you would put your opponent in a position where they overextend on their weaker side, burn all the resources for that side, and then you get another go on that same side where they don't have any more resources left for that side. That could be pretty cool. Quite resource intensive, since you need some way to have more characters. Probably not a problem for Unicorn in some way, but it can't do stuff alone. Alright, I think that's gonna be it for this stream. As I said, of course it is out in about a week or so, and so far, looking at these cards, it's looking very good so far. These are some powerful effects, but there is definitely a theme behind them, which I really like. I very much don't care for... Okay, this is all personal for me. I don't care for the power discussion at all for any cards anymore in this game. It's very much I'm very much more laid back perspective on the game right now, where I play the cards that I find fun, and I leave the toxic, rancid balance discussion to other people. Because I don't play enough to care if there's a busted card that I'm playing against. I'll probably not play against it next time. And of course we still have Tetsuko, so I can't really complain. Yeah, that's gonna be it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you on my next stream, which will be when I build some decks and try out the new Unicorn cards in about a week or so. Stay tuned for that, and thank you guys so much for watching, and have a nice day.